everybody, this is Chaos back with a third part of my multi-part tutorial on Hammer of the Ancients. And this is going to be the part 3 with Legacy Gear. So the first one was the CotA HotA, or the Call of the Ancients, Hammer of the Ancients build. The second one was my DPS Legacy Gear version. This is going to be the third version where this is going to be more the balanced build, and this is going to incorporate the Call of the Ancients guys. So skill-wise, I did nothing different but took out Overpower for Call of the Ancients, and I put in the Ancient's Fury rune. So you already seen that in action. So I'm gonna cast these up before I forget while I'm here. And then the stats, my DPS actually goes up a little bit because I'm no longer using this versus the crit hit damage which I do get with Immortal Kings. So my crit hit damage brought my sheep DPS up, but my overall DPS will be lower because I lost a 19% fire damage. That's the only gear set that I switched out to complete the 4-piece set. So for those of you lucky enough to have that combo, you could do this now. You see I've gained 160 toughness, basically 160k toughness from that switch. So let's go right back to Leorix, and hopefully I don't embarrass myself by dying again in this part, as these guys usually make me a lot tankier, as I can spam Battle Rage for heals, and that's really the gist of the difference. I give up a little bit DPS, but it is still a hell of a lot of DPS. I gave up Overpower, which is a big source of DPS as well. And the only thing that sucks is playing the two builds because I spam the Overpower button when I'm playing the other build. In this build, it's actually my Call of the Ancients button, and I do get the two confused from time to time. And I don't want my Call of the Ancients guys getting stuck up here and dying, actually. Okay, so let's go find a mob. What the Call of the Ancients guy do for me with this setup here is that it'll take the attention away from me, which is nice. Oh, now we get a blue mob, so this is going to be unfair. This is going to make this build a lot better looking than the last one. And this is, and they have Vortex. So Vortex is going to be rough, because Vortex hurts, and there's 6 of them, so they're gonna hurt like crazy to begin with. Oh, and a double mob. Well, let's see if we could do this. Now, this is the reason why I like Ancient Spear, because whenever you're in deep doo-doo, you could use it. You could use it basically as a range attack, and you keep things clustered. So what happens is that they will basically all. This guy has Vortex too. Okay, great. So you can basically keep them clustered together and get the maximum DPS out of your build, and proc Brawler and the such, and actually still do really well. And I'm down to one hat or Call of the Ancients guy, but it doesn't matter. So these guys actually do a substantial amount of damage. But so long as they created enough distraction for you to not die, that's all you really need, and I got enough to cast them again, so I think that was a double mob kill on T6 with her build. Now generally, if I run solo, I would probably prefer the DPS build, which you saw in the second part of the video, or the second part of the series, versus this safe build. It's not that I don't like not dying, it's just I like killing things faster. And when played right, it usually is no different, you know, as far as survival goes. I can actually survive that. I could have made that actually pretty exciting and make it a triple mob, but that wasn't the point of the video. So as you can see, with this setup, I like it for some reasons, and I don't like it for some reasons. And when I use Legacy Gear, because survival is not really my thing, I don't like the fact that one of these guys actually used knockback with the Seismic Slam. When I'm running, like, say, KD2, a lot of times what happens is I would cast Spear, and the Seismic Slam person would override my Spear's pull with a knockback of their own, and I just wasted 25 Fury. When I'm running, like, say, any other place like this with the narrow hallway, it doesn't do that much of a difference because they're stuck in this hallway kind of a scenario where I could grab them really easily again. But here's the cool thing, though. Like, I hate that part, but what I love about this is they will keep, like, say, a mob at bay, and this is almost mimicking that of multiplayer. And what I can do is walk away while they're occupied and set myself up for the perfect pull. And what I like about that is that it will give me the 26% damage that I get from this guy with a better setup. That's what you saw earlier in my DPS setup. unless I'm running with some kind of a distraction, it's really hard for me to pull that one yellow mob, and sometimes I try too hard to just do that. But at the same time, if I don't get to do that, I lose like 26% damage. So, I could, like I said, go with these bracers, but when I'm playing single player, that's how I keep myself entertained. It's basically to pull things and, just instead of just doing this. Like I could do that, but that's boring. So I want to pull things, and that's what I want to do. And this setup actually makes me do that better. It's just that you have to work with the one person, whoever the hell it is, that does the seismic slam. Um, but that was a double mob with Vortex. So, like I said, this build here actually is pretty good surviving. And the only difference is like a difference of 160k on the toughness, and most of it actually came from Vit because I've actually lost resistance. So the extra buffer in Vit actually helped. I'm right at the mark of 100,000, which I try to keep at. But that's the diminishing returns. That's what happens. So like I said, I want to keep my life to about 100k or less, and then that little difference along with the distraction and Call of the Ancients, they actually work out quite well. And since I feel like being a little frisky, might as well do this. Let's go ahead and put one more mob while we're at it. So you see there, they're not even focused on me. So what I could do is I could just keep doing this. And that's what I like about Spear. And this is a 120 mil HP mob. About to smelt him. Oh, I thought I had the perfect setup there. Oh, so that's like 3 mobs in the span of what, like 5 minutes. So yeah, this has been chaos, and once again, I'm gonna still develop this build. I don't know how much further I will really need gear on 60. I would love an amulet that will give me some kind of a damage reduction from AoE of any sort. Either poison and or fire and or cold, or arcane. I mean, any one of those would do wonders. With crit hit chance and crit hit damage, that would be like optimized gear for me. Bracers, fire damage on the bracers would be optimum for me, so I don't have to even make the choice of switching. Sometimes I could just stand still and actually still do significant damage, without feeling like I don't have any kind of an advantage here. Um, I would say, yeah, I mean, the Ike gloves are good. I mean, thank goodness they roll with crit damage and not attack speed. Um, the chest could definitely be better. I could use a second SLJ, like that's really the end game goal for me, because an SLJ could roll with 6% crit, 300 plus strength, and then you could get like 20% fire damage plus another 30 on elites, and that would override this ring immediately. I would also settle for a Roger's Huge Stone, which would help with survival, and I could play my DPS mode more. And that's basically it. I mean, a Cinder Coat, and if I did Cinder Coat, I'll probably put this guy back in and use a Cinder Coat. IK Boots if I don't really care about like the effects anymore. And then if I get like good Justice Lantern, that would basically take away like 50% of jailer time. Like that in itself would help out a little bit. But Ice Climber is really, really good because on a low mobility build, there's very little there's very little ways to die, or very many ways to die, and very little ways to get out of it. And Ice Climbers eliminate some of the biggest factors from that. If there's anything out there that could prevent Vortex, because I just think Vortex is such a stupid effects where it's always going to hit, you really can't avoid it. There's nothing you can do to reduce the effectiveness of it. I mean, like even if they change the Vortex to like roll with like CC reduction, just to make the distance is half to where they want to pull you. With the CC reduction, that would make it so much better. So that's basically the thing that I wanted to point out. And in general, um, that's basically it for the part 3. I mean, right now this is all the alternatives and the side grades that I have. And this build is really interesting. I like it. I just don't do as much damage on the high end, and I don't burst things down as quickly. But I don't kite as much either, so I might actually stick with this as the long-term build. So thank you very much, guys, for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Take care. Bye-bye.